Breaking news, Cristiano Ronaldo has signed for Saudi side Al Nassr.
The biggest story in the Premier League over the last couple of weeks is undoubtedly the takeover at Newcastle United.
Signing of Cristiano Ronaldo to the Al Nassr Football Club, purchase of the Newcastle football team for a huge $408 million. Investments in Liv Golf, global boxing, WWE, and Formula One are just few out of the numerous sporting investments by the Saudi Arabians. The House of Sauds, the ruling royal family of Saudi Arabia, is worth a tremendous $1.4 trillion, which is greater than the GDP of Switzerland, Belgium, and Greece put together. It is almost 50 times the worth of the royal family of Britain, which is estimated to be worth $28 billion in assets. Saudi Arabia owns a public investment fund, PIF, estimated about $620 billion, which is one of the largest sovereign wealth funds in the world. So who would have thought? These powerful rulers sitting on one of the greatest global oil reserves will become disinvested in a fanatic takeover of the world's sporting industry. The nation has been accused by the media for using sport as a distraction from human rights and humanitarian issues. However, Saudi attributes these investments to their Saudi Vision 2030 project, led by Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. So what are the true reasons? Is the Saudi government really working to diversify the economy of the nation? Or is this all a deep-rooted plot to clean Saudi's global image? It all started in 1933. Saudi Aramco, which is the world's largest producer of oil, was established following a concession agreement between the Saudi Arabian government and the Standard Oil Company of California. The company expanded rapidly across Saudi Arabia over the next decade, and in 1973, the Saudi Arabian government purchased a 25% interest in the company, gradually increasing its stake to 100%, and ultimately took full control over Aramco, renaming it to Saudi Aramco in the 90s. Saudi Aramco went public with an IPO in 2019, raising a record $29.4 billion by selling over 3 billion shares. This amount was only about 2% of the company's actual value, allowing only limited public ownership of the company, significantly lower than firms like Apple, which has more than 84% of its shares held by the public. In 2022, Saudi oil giant Aramco was ranked the most profitable company in the world, with an annual profit coming in at $279.4 billion. According to the calculations of the company's market cap, that figure is equal to the combined profits of Apple, Google's parent company Alphabet, and Microsoft. All these further defined the oil-dependent economy of Saudi Arabia, with contributions from the company amounting to around 85% of the state's budget. In 2016, the Saudi Arabian government, led by Mohammed bin Salman, launched an ambitious economic and social transformation plan with a very clear objective: to overcome its enormous dependence on crude oil. Saudi Vision 2030 is a strategic framework to reduce Saudi Arabia's dependence on oil, diversify its economy, and develop public service sectors such as health, education, infrastructure, recreation, and tourism. The General Secretary of the Saudi Arabian Football Federation, Ibrahim Al-Qasim, believes that emerging as a soft power in football will go a long way in helping Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030, wherein the country aims to diversify the economy and break free from its dependence on oil. So over the years, the rich oil nation began to invest billions across the sporting world, from chess championships to golf, tennis, and $60 million alone on the Saudi Cup, the world's richest horse racing event with prize money of $20 million. A more popular investment in Liv Golf, a professional golf tour hugely financed and backed by the Public Investment Fund, the Sovereign Wealth Fund of Saudi Arabia, a $650 million 10-year deal with Formula One, who for the first time hosted the inaugural Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in 2021 on what is the fastest street circuit that the sport has ever visited. It has now been revealed that the Saudis tried to buy Formula One as a whole. According to the Bloomberg, the offer was made in early 2022, with a Middle Eastern country offering the Liberty Group an enormous offer of $20 billion, about 18.5 billion euros. However, Liberty was not interested in selling a commodity that they themselves recently purchased from Bernie Ecclestone, in September 2016 for around $4.4 billion. The Saudis, though, are not willing to take the no as a definitive answer. According to Bloomberg, they have also made it known to Liberty that the offer is still valid and they're even open to raising it. Meanwhile, the country continues to invest in motorsport in different ways. It already has shares in McLaren and Aston Martin, where it is the second largest shareholder after Lawrence Stroll. On October 2021, a group led by Saudi Arabia's sovereign investment fund completed a purchase of the Premier League soccer team Newcastle United. The sale instantly transformed Newcastle, and an underachieving club whose home in the north of England is far from the power centers of the European soccer, into theoretically one of the richest teams in the world, backed by the wealth of Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, a vehicle that controls assets worth $620 billion. Other adventurous investments include $145 million in a 3-year deal with the Spanish Football Association and $15 million in appearance fees for a single Saudi international men's golf tournament. It also includes $33 million to host a Saudi Arabian Masters snooker tournament in the kingdom, and $100 million for the boxing match known as the Clash on the Dunes between Andy Ruiz Jr. and Anthony Joshua in 2019. Saudi Arabia also cut a $500 million 10-year deal with the World Wrestling Entertainment in 2014, one where female performers were banned from appearing until a few years ago. However, recently, it has been said that the Saudis have had their eyes on the WWE and have plans on buying it off completely. For the moment, the company has remained silent, although there are already many critical voices speaking up against the WWE boss for negotiating the possible sale of a symbol of the United States to the Middle Eastern country. Nothing has yet been finalized. With all these fast-paced investments and acquisitions, Saudi has continually received backlash from various social and human rights groups over their true intentions and their erroneous investments on world sport. Grant Liberty's analysis outlines the momentous scale of Saudi Arabia's investments and what they term sports washing, the practice of investing or hosting sporting events in a bid to obscure the kingdom's poor human rights record, and tout itself as a new leading global venue for tourism and events. A lot of human rights groups believe the Saudis are in a wild quest to clean the nation's global image using sport washing as a major tool. This idea is backed by the various humanitarian decadence that have been occurring for a while, including the arrest of feminist activists and religious clerics. The kingdom has also spearheaded an intervention in Yemen, part of a war that has killed over 100,000 people, including at least 12,000 civilians. Observers estimate that at least 2/3 of these deaths were caused by Saudi Arabia's aggressive campaign of airstrikes. A recently declassified U.S. intelligence report named Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman as ultimately responsible for the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi in 2018. The Guardian revealed that a senior Saudi official issued what was perceived as a death threat against United Nations investors Agnes Callamard following her investigation of Khashoggi's murder. Adam Kugel, a Middle East researcher for Human Rights Watch, said, "I think they've looked at Qatar and looked at the UAE, and they'll have seen the benefits of it laundering an international reputation through sport, and it's entirely possible that they'll think this is what we can do too." Under the leadership of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, Saudis said sports washing has gone into overdrive at the very time that human rights have deteriorated alarmingly. With this in mind, it is easy to see why so many of the ventures discussed earlier all received the same criticism. All of the sporting investments were seen as efforts by the regime to conceal its own wrongdoings. Saudi Arabia officially denies these allegations and claims that many of these allegations are due to misunderstandings of the country and its culture and society. The nation is reportedly leading a joint bid with Egypt and Greece to host the 2030 FIFA World Cup, which would go up against a joint bid from Argentina, Uruguay, Chile, and Paraguay, as well as one from Spain and Portugal. So once again, the Gulf nation is sending out signals to the entire globe that it's going to be a long sporting journey, and they have no plans on backing down anytime soon.